Here is the bloody face of the West, Eray Güçlüer exposed one by one. Akşam newspaper columnist Eray Güçlüer criticized the logic of imperialism and its colonialist policies. Güçlüer stated that the West pits societies against each other for its own interests and establishes an order that feeds on conflicts. Reminding the tragedy in Palestine, Güçlüer stated that separations and divisions have severe consequences. Here is Eray Güçlüer's article. Akşam newspaper writer Eray Güçlüer criticized the logic of imperialism and its colonialist policies. Güçlüer stated that the West pits societies against each other for its own interests and establishes an order that feeds on conflicts. Reminding the tragedy in Palestine, Güçlüer stated that separations and divisions have severe consequences. Here is Eray Güçlüer's article. The weaknesses of the oppressed are the main cause of their suffering. The greatest weakness is to fall into separation and to be a tool in the games of the centers of evil and discord. Today, the biggest weakness of all innocent societies, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, from Far East Asia to the Middle East and Africa, is the inability to unite among themselves. In other words, the devil draws his power from the divisions among the oppressed. But the cost of these separations and divisions is very heavy. The price is blood and tears. The price is death. This is what is happening now in the West Bank and Gaza, when two communities of the same nationality are pitted against each other by Zionist agents. Israel benefits from the division created. As a result, the Palestinian people are slowly being erased from the stage of history. The logic of imperialism, the logic of the imperialist colonial powers is based on the understanding that every living being is born into a system in which its survival depends on the consumption of the other. Those with this understanding see those outside themselves as enemies who are not even human. They love themselves so much and see themselves so high that they prefer to ambush instead of fighting valiantly. They are especially adept at pitting societies against each other along ethnic, sectarian, religious, economic, and political lines. The 1994 massacre in Rwanda, a Central African country, is exemplary. At the instigation of France, the Hutus, one of the most important tribes in the country, killed 800,000 Tutsi tribesmen. In order to make the massacre economical, France sent 200,000 machetes to the Hutus instead of giving them bullets. The massacre was carried out by cutting people with machetes. The origins of colonial imperialism, natural conditions and events, especially geography, have very important effects on the formation of the sociogenetic structures of human societies. Of course, although it is a wide subject of research, there is a possibility that the European colonialism and imperialist logic is the result of the great torments that the inhabitants of the continent, which has scarce resources and is in hunger and misery, suffered in the Inquisition system in the early and medieval periods lasting about 15 centuries. It is also thought that the inability to resist the political dominance of a dominant country character such as the Ottoman Empire during this period was also effective in the emergence of the colonial mentality. Therefore, for thousands of years to come, humanity will try to live with the same danger. Politics is drawn with guns. It is noteworthy that the conditions before the First and Second World Wars are being experienced right now. The imperialist USA and the West with all its mighty weapons and military power are again at the doorstep of the innocent. They are in the Middle East and Africa, which they cannot get enough of exploiting. Far East Asia is next and China is aware that it will be next and is preparing accordingly. These imperialist powers do not make politics on international law and universal humanitarian values, but with weapons. That is why the countries with the largest share and power in world arms technology and trade rule the world. In terms of the security of our country, I can say that the Turkish defense industry is at a very high level. However, we need to further strengthen the unity and solidarity within the country due to the sensitivities arising due to internal reasons such as the great earthquake centered in Kahramanmaraş and external reasons such as the negative impact on the country's economy due to the crises in the world. We are among the top 3 countries in the world that are subjected to psychological propaganda and agents of influence, and we are often the first target country. In the coming period, it seems very likely that there will be an increase in attempts to weaken our domestic front due to the global crisis and fractures. Let's be careful. Let's not fall for the games.